Good evening. My name is Charles with Clarker Tactical. Again, this is Tactical Tuesday Talks. This is going to be episode 13, Pistol Mods. We're going to be talking about pros and cons, do's and don'ts. Again, my opinion on that. It is not going to be end-all, do-all of what you should and shouldn't do to your pistol. As well as we'll go over what modifications that you do that will affect holster fitment. There is a lot of crazy modifications out there that will affect your holster fitment. So, first things first, if you've seen the post earlier today on, today's the 15th, our website is undergoing, we had an emergency little thing we had to do, switching over to a new host, and there was a problem. So, the site is up right now. It is back up. I still have to transfer over all the coupons that didn't transfer. So if you're trying to use a coupon code, stand by. I will have that finished shortly after this live is done. I'm going right back into that jam and trying to get the website sorted out. I like the new look. I'm hoping that it works out. We'll see. It's got a lot more new features. It's a little bit better. Same base of the website, but bear with us while we work out the kinks. And if you have any questions, any problems, send us a direct message or an email, and we will respond to you as quickly as possible and try to resolve the issue for you. Looking forward here, April is about halfway done. Nothing big going on in April. Looking forward into May. If you are Michigan local or even Ohio, there are some guys in Ohio that will be there. We are going to be set up and sponsoring the Great Lakes Regional IDPA match at the Saginaw Field and Stream. That is going to be May 17th, if I'm not mistaken. I will make a further post on that later with the verified date. I can't remember if the 17th is staff day or if it's 18th, but regardless, a few of you people out there that we talked to and that follow us are going to be there, and we're excited to see you and meet you. If you're locally or you want to just come watch the match, you'd be surprised how many spectators actually just come just to watch the match. Come watch the match, and if you're interested, get into IDPA shooting. I have done one or two quick local matches. It's a blast. It's fun. Highly recommend doing it if you have the opportunity to. So, next, moving further than that, we're going into June. June 7th, we are going to be up at the Marksmanship Training Center in Lake City, Michigan. We're going to be doing the Wolverine 5K for 2025. Last year we volunteered because we missed sign up because it was like, I think 20 minutes or something like that. It filled up. This year, the Wolverine 5K filled up in 7 minutes. That's how quickly, and there's quite a bit of spots. I can't remember how many teams were allotted, but 7 minutes. That's crazy. But we will be up there. It's a tactical adventure race based around the movie Red Dawn. It is basically everything's scenario based on a Red Dawn experience. Testing your gear and your fitness and everything else with your team. So if you have a group of people, a group of individuals that are in your network that you would say, hey, end of the world happens, something like you've had to go do something with them. This is a real good test to see, hey, how well are you going to work together, and how good your gear is. So next year, obviously too late this year, you can go still volunteer. They're still taking volunteers. If you volunteer, you get early sign up next year. So if you go to Marksmanship Training Center's website, you can find it, or just Google search Wolverine 5K. It's a great event. Highly recommend doing it. End of June, again, we're going to be at GunCon 2025. So we will be there hanging out with all the other content creators and brands and other cool people there at GunCon. Tickets go on sale, or they're on sale now. This June 28th is a public day. It's going to be at the Twist Drill Center in Cleveland, Ohio. Go to guncon.net to get your tickets. Check out all the sponsors, the big sponsor list, and all the content creators, the live 2A panels. Your ticket again gets you a entry, a shirt, and a lunch. So it's a great time because you come get to hang out with all of us. And I'm just one of the smaller guys. There's some big YouTubers out there, gun tubers that I followed well before getting into this industry. and kind of, I would say looked up to a little, but followed their advice and followed the content. And there's going to be a bunch of them there, a bunch of new inspiring gun tubers and content creators, new brands, old brands, great brands. So get your tickets. Hopefully we'll be able to meet you and see you there as well. So into tonight's topic. Let's go into it. Pistol mods. Why are we going to? First, why mod your pistol? First, an obvious one is to make it better, right? So the reason I'm going to mod a pistol is because either I find that the platform I bought from the factory, it was good enough, but it didn't quite fit me, because it's just like buying a car or anything else from the factory. They're trying to make and please everybody in the industry. And what happens is you get all these other people that buy aftermarket parts for them to customize it and tailor it to them. I was very skeptical when I was a first time gun owner of like doing anything to my guns. Like I would just buy it and that was it. Cool, don't touch it. I didn't want to change the sights. I didn't want to change mag releases. I didn't want to do nothing to it because I was like, well, warranty, maybe it won't work, or resellability, any of that stuff. I just left it as it was. If I didn't like it, I bought a different gun. As I grew in experience and knowledge there, I realized, no, I'm just going to modify it. I'm going to make it fit me. So we're going to modify our pistols to, one, improve our shooting experience with it, depending on the mods, improve the ergonomics of it, and improve the function and reliability of it. As well as there's a cosmetic thing to it. There's a lot of modifications that just look pretty. They don't really do anything, but they look pretty. Looks fast, looks mean, slow as dirt, right? So some of those are going to be some cosmetic mods, however, are functional, or functional mods, or cosmetic, or get some glam to it too. I'm all for, if it runs, I don't care what it looks like. If it runs good, it ends up looking good. I don't know if that makes sense with you, but it does with me. And that's what matters, right? Because we're building these guns for ourselves. And they're not for, some people are making it for other people, but they're really to please me. I just need to be pleased with my gun. So going into that, make sure this thing didn't turn off on me. It's fun doing that. I've got one example I'm going to show, because all the other ones are basic mods. Like I've done like optics and lights, and I will say those are technically mods, but they're not. I would say if you're putting optics on a optics ready pistol, you're just adding an attachment that the gun is ready for. Putting a light on, if it has a rail, you're adding an attachment. Attachments to me aren't mods. You're not changing anything that was factory. You're not removing anything and replacing it with an aftermarket part. I would say that's considered a modification. You're changing something about the original base structure or bone structure of the gun. So types of mods that we went over, we got cosmetic and mechanical, right? So mechanical being you're changing out triggers, barrels, catches, and actual mechanical parts, grip frames, things like that. Cosmetic says I'm getting it painted. I'm putting a grip on it, as like not just a full grip module, but just like grip texturing, or I'm stippling it. Again, some of these cosmetics do help with performance, and I'll say that lightheartedly, with performance mods. We'll go into that later. So some cosmetic modifications: Cerakote, spray paint, colored controls, anodized colored controls or plastic controls, stippling, wrap grips. There are gun wraps. They're not really like paints. They're like literally a sticker you put on them. Those are pretty popular to make different patterns. I would say a good balance of function over fashion. So there's a certain point where your gun is just flashy and looks cool, but you've done nothing to it. You've done a lot of work, spent a lot of money on it, and it's like, cool, it looks great. And then you're like the guy from the Hangover with the nice car, like, don't even look at it, don't even touch it, don't think about it. Like, it's a safe queen. And it's just eye candy. And at that point, what point was all that money that you spent? In my opinion. So next we'll go into some mechanical mods. Now that we're going to go barrels, porting, slide cuts, adding optics cuts to guns that weren't factory optics, so custom optics cuts, those that would work. Compensators, grips as far as like grip modules, or even like I put some Talon grips on this one. I'll show. That's a different kind of mod. Mag wells, mag extensions. We'll consider the accessories like that, like doing mag extensions, as a mod to the pistol, because it is an integral part and you need it to function. Different controls, triggers, gas pedals. I think that's aftermarket sights. Those are really the only modifications of mechanical parts I can come up with that are actually going to change how the gun functions and feels. So I'll show you some of these modifications. So it's clear. We're not gonna. There's no mag. I've cleared it before. So this is my Glock 45, and this is not heavily modded. I didn't do anything, and I've actually reverted some of the mods, and this is kind of why I came up with this video, because I had modifications on this that I took off and went back to factory because they did not work. I thought they would be better being aftermarket, thinking, oh, these are going to make the gun better. It actually didn't improve anything. It made it worse. So first thing I ever did was I went with the Ameriglow 426s, I think, blacked out. They're just straight black blade, front and rear suppressor height sights. These are lower 1/3 co-witness sights from Ameriglow. I did have an RMR on here. And then I switched up to the Viridian RFX 35. I love this thing. It's great. So far, no issues. Shoots great. Nice window. Really liking the green dot. I don't know if it'll show up in there or not. There it is. Nice green dot. I like this. Works well with the backups. This is actually lower than my RMR that I had before. So my iron sights are actually, they're still lower 1/3 of the window because it's a larger window, but I could actually go shorter on these and still be able to co-witness. I did do the Talon grips. These are their pro texture. So it's like it's a mix between the rubber and their granulate one. I just added those, and I'm actually very happy with it. I haven't got on the range to really test it. But the grip feels much better. I don't really care for Glock grips. I didn't want to do a grip reduction before I did this, but I figured, what the heck, I'll just do this for cheap. I did double undercut this myself with the Dremel one late night. I figured, what the heck? And I tell you what, it feels so much different with this. Polymer 80s had it right. Strike 80s. Any other Glock framed aftermarket gun that has this done to it, you need that. It's wonderful. It's great. This needs to be a little more aggressive, so I might go in and Dremel that a little bit more to make it more of a sharp edge, so I have a seat. I did go ahead and put a little indexing mark here and put some of the leftover grip on there, just so I have a spot just to feel for my thumb. My thumb goes there naturally anyways, but sometimes my grip likes to slide up on the slide, and slows the gun down a little bit, and actually causes, doesn't slide lock on me sometimes and things like that. There's two parts that I took off this because they weren't working. One of them I might still go back to, but the first one was the mag release. I've got a whole parts bin over here. I put the Strike Industries modular mag release. It comes with two different head heights. I put this on, and it felt great. I liked it. I was like, cool. I didn't have to break my grip as much, even though I've got this big honking thumb that I don't really have to break my grip at all to get to the mag release, because I just got big fat thumbs. I was still having issues with the mag dropping out while I was shooting, and it wasn't just me. I actually have had 3 other people verify that it was the mag release. I think what happened, and I still have to verify this, but this is my theory, is that the notch in this release, where it's located, created a weaker spring tension on the mag release spring in the frame. So it wasn't as tight, so it was much easier to depress, and they might have done that intentionally to make it easier. Well, it was too easy, because the way I grip it, it was dropping the mags after 2 or 3 shots. So don't like it. I ended up it's going to go into a bin and I'll sell it to a buddy, or I'm just going to give it to a buddy. Like, hey, you want a mag release? Because maybe it'll work for them. Some of these modifications will work for some people. They don't work for everybody. The second mod that I did that I took off because it wasn't working was this barrel. I got a Griffin Armament. It's a Gen 5 Glock 19 barrel, and it comes with it's comped, so it's a mini comp. Threaded barrel, and the thread protector is compensated. The first thing that I realized with this, that I should have realized when I put it on, is that I had to re-zero. Because it is a half-inch longer, technically, and this is comped, I did have to re-zero this and relearn where my shots were landing because of that little mini comp, and this is a match. Well, technically, they say that the Gen 5 barrels and the Glock 45 are match grade barrels, but this is aftermarket, and I think that it's more match grade than the factory match grade that they're putting in Glocks, and it's Griffin Armament. So I have no doubts that this is a good, solid barrel. I was an idiot, and I didn't confirm my zero, threw this on, was like, oh, I'm good. And I went and shot an IDPA match with this, and it was a local match, so it didn't matter if it was modded, because I was running a different class, but we won't get into that. All my shots were off. And it was slow. It slowed the gun down so much that I was getting failure to feeds. I was getting failure to lock. And yes, it was the barrel. I was running 124 grain FMJ through it from Delta Munitions. I knew the ammo wasn't the issue. It could have been also shooter issue. I don't know. Well, I do know because I took this out and then no problems, zero issues. So I concluded that the barrel was the problem. Now, I still have further testing to do because I'm going to run 147s, different ammo, and then I should do a good zero on it, like I should have. And I still think this is viable and possible. And what I might end up doing is just getting another Glock 19 to put this in and just leave this one with the factory barrel. You know, it's not that hard to swap out. Next thing I did that I will say that I might have fallen for a gimmick, and I have watched a Jerry McCulloch video on this, and he claims that it does help. But tungsten guide rods. I was also the Glock store guy. I can't remember, Lenny, whatever. Tungsten guide rod. This is the factory guide rod. I don't like stock Glock guide rods. The Gen 5s are okay. They're better than the old ones. But I will tell you, as a gunsmith, a lot of times I've seen on Glocks, other than some trigger bars parts, this is probably one of the most common-ish parts that I've had to replace on a Glock, was Gen 3 and below guide rods, the springs. That just, don't like them. So anyway, this is supposed to reduce felt recoil, heavy tungsten guide rod. They claim it's supposed to be 3 times the weight of the factory. Plastic one won't break or bend, shoot more accurately. It doesn't really give you any information as far as like how much it's supposed to reduce your recoil, but I do feel like it shoots smooth. I will say that I kind of, you feel a different impulse. It's not substantial where it's like, holy crap, I can tell the difference right away. Some mods are like night and day differences. Like, oh, I put that part in. This is a different gun. And one of those is going to be triggers. I have not done a trigger yet on this, but I have done a trigger on my M&P, which I traded for that 6.5 right there. I traded my M&P 5-inch to a buddy of mine, and I put an Apex Duty in that one. So that was a trigger, couple other sear block, couple other springs, and I can't remember, but an Apex will probably be going in this as well, because I don't like the factory Glock trigger, even though it works fine. But it is kind of, I'm going to make it better because I can and I want to. And that is a modification that I think that is based on the shooter's skills, because if you're a basic entry-level shooter, stick with a factory trigger. And I say that just because if you put in a crazy trigger that has less take-up, quicker break, shorter reset, you're going to try to run the gun faster than what you're actually capable of running. This is not the case in every situation, but I'm just saying in general. Triggers are one of those things where you change them and you will notice an instantaneous difference. That I would say that I'm an experienced shooter. So when I put that apex in my M&P, it was like night and day. It was my follow-on shots were quicker. My resets were, it was just, I only had to put a little bit of pressure on the trigger, come off, that's about as much as my trigger finger had to move. It was ridiculous. This is getting an apex soon. Magwell. So I'm going, this is a magwell. Gen 5 doesn't really need a magwell, right? Because it's already got one technically built in. I'm going to go in here with a Dremel and clean all that up to match it. This is a cheap one. This is plastic from Strike Industries, so it's not the best. They make aluminum ones. The big reason why I did this was because this is going to be a duty / competition gun. So I want to be able to just blindly, sloppily, quickly throw a mag in here, and I just have this to be a little bit extra wide just to catch if I miss a little bit. Sometimes you miss putting it in, right? Magwells can get pretty wild and crazy. Now, if you're running like IDPA, USPA, like race gun stuff, you'll see some ridiculous magwells, but they're functional. That is a functional mod if done properly and used properly. Triggers are a functional mod. Magazine releases, that's your own comfort, because at least with this gun, I think the factory magazine release is just fine. Controls. A lot of people will go and do the extended controls on these to make it easier to be able to manipulate the slide lock and slide catch. I have not done that on this. I don't plan to do that on this one. Maybe I will, just to try it out, so I can say, hey, I do not like it, or I don't like it, or I do like it, whichever. But for now, I'm not going to, because I don't feel like the extended controls for the slide are necessary. I don't plan on doing that. As far as mods for this, I'm not doing anything else to this one. I'm just going to clean up some of the the hack job I did. The camera doesn't do it justice. When you look closer at it, it doesn't look that good. But one of the things when you do mod is that you end up with all the extra parts, and this isn't even all of them. This is just some of them. All the extra parts that you have that you now own in the black abyss in your shop, somewhere in a drawer, I've got 2 drawers of bins there full of extra AR parts, extra pistol parts from other guns. So you end up with extra parts. That's one downside. All right. So what are some of the cons to modding your pistol? What would be a con? Well, the aftermarket part not working as good as the original part. That's a con. I mean, like I had here, I modified it, and it didn't turn out to work. It didn't work the way I was expecting it to. So reliability issues, durability issues. Maybe the aftermarket part isn't as durable, or it might break easier than the factory part. They are more expensive, and like I said, you end up with extra parts, and it's not like you're going to sell off factory parts. I like keeping them just for gunsmithing purposes, for repairs on someone who just has a factory gun, that, especially Glock. I've seen a lot. The factory Glock plastic sites, people lose them all the time. They just disappear. I don't know. Or if they knock them out and they lose them, or they damage them. Guide rods is another thing. So some of the parts are good to hold on to for smithing purposes if you're into that. If not, they're just there to back it up, to put the gun back to stock if you want to sell it, or whatever, you don't want to sell it modded. Some of these modifications may or may not require a gunsmith. Every modification I've done here didn't require a gunsmith per se. Some people may not have the skills and abilities, or just the tools in general to complete the task. So if you're not comfortable with it, don't attempt it. You're going to lose parts. You're going to break stuff. Take it to a friend or a gunsmith that can get it done properly with the right tools. Could your mods potentially void your warranty? That I don't really know. Typically, I would say no, unless you're making like physically permanent mods. Like, that's a physical permanent mod. Like, there's nothing I can do that grip frame module. If I ever had to send it in for Glock or whatever, which I would never do that. That would be like, oh, that's the modified frame. I don't know what repercussions, what changes that would be to like them fixing it to where it's still qualified to have a qualified, certified armored work on this gun. I don't know, because I don't care, because I'm a gunsmith. I'm going to do it myself. There's nothing on this that I couldn't repair that. Anyway, do you think that? Put that in mind. If you do any permanent modifications to it, is there any warranties you're going to avoid? Legality. I will not speak on this as a legal advice. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an attorney. None of that. But if I use this, let's say I had this thing fully modded, like my IDPA race gun dream thing, whatever. It was just like, this is meant to shoot super fast, super accurate, and I'm carrying this for personal protection. What do you think a prosecuting attorney is going to use against you in the case of justified or not? Let's just say it's fully justified shooting, and you used a like $3,000 heavily modded IDPA race gun to, defend yourself. Just play devil's advocate here for a second with me. Let's just go down that lane. Prosecuting attorney says, hey, you're carrying a gun that was so modified to shoot accurately and repeatedly and quickly to defend yourself. It's like you were intending to, do that. That's what's going to happen. They're just going to, it might not go well. Armed attorneys on YouTube have a couple of videos on modified pistols and things like that, as far as like what they're going to say. Oh, this is to help me shoot better, and this is to help this and that. And then they have the counter arguments for it as well. But go check out one of their videos there. If I had it, even when I post this, I'll find the link for it, and I will put it down in the comments below, or in the description. I mean, that for those videos. Like I said, I don't know. Every state's different. This is just my opinion. Potential things that could happen. Basically, just do what works, and like modify your pistol to all get out. That's wonderful, great, do it. I love it. Just do it what works best for you. Don't care if you saw some cool person on Instagram and YouTube, they did some mod. You're like, I'm just going to do it because that person did it, or that looks really cool. All right, yeah, we want our stuff to look cool, but I want it to work too. So try stuff out, test it, revert it back, or try a different aftermarket. I might just try another aftermarket mag release. Maybe I just need to try different ammo, and that barrel will work better, and actually zero it, so I don't look like an idiot my first day of a match with an unzeroed gun with a new barrel, because I did. That didn't also slide lock and had failures, and yeah, it was bad. So train to shoot better before you start modding the gun to crazy. I will say that. So you can't buy performance. You can't. You can spend as much money you want on mods. You're not buying performance. You can buy performance in the area of buying ammo and range time. You can buy performance that way, because the more range time and ammo that you use and spend, you're going to get better. Regardless. I mean, even if you were just to be mag dumping into the ground with 1,000 rounds, it's still better than spending $1,000 on a gun that you haven't shot anything through. At least you've got some trigger time. I will say, don't just ammo dump. Go out there and actually train, do some drills, practice, get better, get a shot timer. Oh shoot, it's out of my reach. Get a shot timer, because that's the best tool for training that you can get, is the shot timer. How are you going to know if you have improved if you don't have any data to analyze afterwards, to say, hey, last time I did this drill, I did it in like 0.34 seconds, and now I'm doing it in 0.22 seconds. Like, I've improved. This is great. Or, hey, I did it in 0.75. I'm going slow. What's going on? Like, my standard cold, you know what I'm getting at here. Get a shot timer, or else your training data is invalid. You can train all you want, but if you don't have anything to quantify it, then, well, it's not, you can't get better. And then modify your pistol to match your skill level. That kind of goes into, or follows on into, what I was saying about training. Training first with a basic fundamentals, basic pistol, and then start modifying to better your skill, to complement your skills. if I'm really good at my trigger control, trigger press, and follow through and follow on shots and reset, great. Now I can upgrade the trigger to something that's going to match me, because now I've surpassed my factory trigger because my trigger skills have improved. And now I can go ahead and put an aftermarket trigger in. Oh yeah, this is matching better than just master that trigger. There's a certain point where you're not going to be able to modify it anymore. You're just going to be the best that you can be. But if you just go ahead and throw an Apex in there right away, will you still get better? Yes, you will. But you're gonna, in my opinion, you'll try to push yourself too hard, too fast. Meaning, like, you'll get this like thing, and then you can talk to any instructor, any shooter that's experienced, professional, whatever. They get this like, go fast, go fast, go fast, and then they fud up a drill. They just mess it all up. They go way too fast. They fumble. They have bad rhythm, horrible grip. They sacrifice, grip for speed and accuracy for speed and all this other stuff. And then they fudge it up. Smooth as slow as, I'm going to screw up the quote. Smooth as fast as smooth, whatever. It's been so long since I've used that quote. But yeah, train with the basics first. So fundamentals. Every shooter, even professionals, they'll start off doing fundamentals. They'll go back. There's guys that have trained advanced, crazy skills in any discipline. It doesn't have to be just shooting, in anything. And I almost guarantee the good ones anyway. I guarantee you if they say, hey, let's do some basics. Cool, good. I can always get down back to the basics, because that's the core of all of their technique, is the basic fundamentals. So modify the crap out of your pistols, out of your firearms, out of everything. Spray paint them. Get a Dremel out and start going crazy. Have fun with it. Experiment. If you mess up, oh well, you messed up. Then you'll learn and do it better next time. It really sucks to mess up a frame, especially one like this, where you can get like the 80% frames and stuff, and you just can't. You got to do a new serial number or whatever. But if you mess up your factory gun that doesn't have a grip module to it, then whatever. Practice on some grip modules. They're cheap. You can get a stock SIG grip module probably for like $20. You can probably get a whole box of them for more than that. And just practice on those. Practice modifying them, and tone your skills on that if you're wanting to get a Dremel, a stipple gun, and do it that way. So there's things that you can do within your skill set and skill level to improve and modify your handgun. Be leery of modifying your everyday carry, especially triggers and other things. Am I saying that because I know? No, I don't. So just take that as me giving you personal advice as far as my opinion. Whatever. That is all I've got for pistol mods. Let me know down in the comments what you have modified on your pistol and what you like and don't like. Is there anything that you've taken off, like me, that you ended up not liking and you ended up reverting back to factory, or just switched to a different company or brand of that mod? Next week, so I do actually have something planned for next week. First time in a while, ever, that I actually have next week's planned. So next week is going to be concealed carry tips. The only change that might be, depending on if we get my buddy to come in with me, we might do military versus civilian training. Depending on how next week goes, it'll be that. It'll be one of those two. But right now, we're going to plan for concealed carry tips is going to be next week's Tactical Tuesday Talks episode. But for tonight's episode, that's a wrap. That's it, guys. Stay safe out there. Train. Modify the crap out of your pistols and have fun with it, but still train. All right? You guys carry with confidence. We'll see you later.